Hi everyone, I'm Riddhi Paul. I run a media and design studio in Bangalore called Damon Max. Damon Max has recently collaborated with the Hub to bring to you Orange Juice Diaries. OJD is a fun space for creators to call home. We bring to you inspiring stories of different artists from around the world. We are super excited to be talking to Natasha today. Natasha is a mural designer from New York, so this should be super insightful and fun. Tell us about yourself and what you do, Natasha.
My name is Natasha. I work under the name Surface of Beauty on Instagram, and I am a muralist. I have been a full-time muralist now for 2 years. Before that, I worked in fashion for almost 10 years. So I started my career actually in India. I worked for Sabyasachi for 3 years. Yeah. So basically, I came straight out of college. I didn't study design. I went to Harvard. I studied philosophy, and that was sort of my interest and my passion at that time. And people always say, like, why did you change or this or that? And I don't see it that way at all. It's like I was really interested in this subject. Then I wanted to do fashion. Then I wanted to do art. And that's how
it goes hand in hand, right?
It does. It totally does. A lot of people see that. So anyway, so I graduated from college, and I wanted to get into fashion, and I didn't know how to do that in New York. So I just emailed Sabyasachi's secretary, and she replied to me in like 5 minutes, you know, because I told her, like, I have a fellowship, which I did actually. And I was like, I can work for free for 3 months. And she's like, yeah, come on over. So I'm like so excited, and I plan everything, and I get there, and basically like it was 6 months later at that point, and I just arrived. I couldn't find his factory. It was like down this dirt road. I mean, I was just so out of my element. And then I met him like after 3 days, and he's like, why are you here? And I was like, because I want to learn from you, you know. But then things progressed well, and he hired me actually after 3 months.
That's amazing.
So I stayed like two and a half more years with him on the design team, and he really taught me, I mean, everything that I know. Like, I actually don't talk about this part of my life a lot in interviews, because people in America don't know who Sabyasachi is, and for them it's just like irrelevant. But for me, it is like the bedrock of what I do now, because he was my first teacher in terms of color, design, aesthetics. Like, I had never taken
and you kind of had one of the best teachers.
He is incredible. He is like my favorite human being. He is so talented and brilliant and well read and well thought and well spoken.
He also seems really humble, which is what I love about his personality.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he would sit on the floor and eat like dal and rice with his hand, and like tell us what to do.
It's so cool to know this about you, because you wouldn't, right? Like you said, it's not something you talk about, but this is
not something I talk about a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it deeply influenced me, and I actually learned some Hindi there, because that was the only way I was able to work with the factory workers.
Correct. Yeah.
I became really close to them. I would go to their villages on the weekends, and it really influenced me, and the color and the aesthetics and the flowers. And so, that's one of the reasons I paint flowers now, is because it's sort of like an ode to that textile history and the composition. And I really think about my murals as a textile, like the way that I compose them. And many people have told me that as well. That is what makes my floral murals unique, is that they have this textile. I mean, it's like some of my clients just email me and out of the blue, and they're like, I love your murals because I love textiles. And I think, wow.
I really love your leggings, by the way, because I checked them out and I was like, oh my God.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. By the way, anybody watching, if you want to buy her leggings, they're amazing. They're on her website and they're so cool. Natasha, I love your leggings.
They're very comfortable. I wear them every day. But yeah, that's just one thing I'm doing. I'm working on a lot of things at the moment, and I'm also making my own clothes just for fun. I mean, fashion is a difficult business, but when I do digital print, like for my leggings, it's easy for me to get them printed, and then
you could always do like capsule releases, right? Where you're only doing a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's 25 of these, and then I got no more.
Exactly. It's like, I don't want to get into that retail cycle.
Yeah, of course.
I know.
Yeah. So tell us, how does one become a mural artist in New York?
Right. So I was there in India. I come back to New York, and then I worked for a luxury embroidery company there, doing embroidery for New York luxury brands.
Yeah.
So that was 5 years. And so during that time, that's another conversation, but I saw some things about fashion in New York City that I was like, this is not very creative for me. Like it's a lot over email and computer. So I was like, I need to get out of this. I need to find a way. And so the honest truth is I found my first murals on Craigslist, which is this very formal, community, like billboard basically. And, I got paid almost nothing, but for me, I still have my full-time job. And so I was just sort of exploring and experimenting. And then it literally just naturally took off. And I feel that people, and I am not this person that always happens to. Like, I've worked so hard in my life, and I'm like, there was nothing easy about this. But for murals, it was the one thing in my life that it really was. I worked really hard, but there was this momentum that felt like it was outside of me. So, in terms of getting clients, they would just contact me. And, I would put in the long hours, and sometimes they were insane because I was still working full time. So I get up at like 5 a.m.
Correct.
But just like I could feel that it's moving, that the doors are opening, that this is the right path for me. Whereas fashion, it was like, coming back to New York after India, nobody cared about my history in India. It didn't mean anything to them. I think I went on interviews like every week for a year before I finally found a good job. And it just felt like I was banging my head against the wall. And then with murals, it just felt like the opposite. Like everyone was opening their doors to me. And
that's really surprising, by the way, because your illustrations are stunning. So it just, that's so shocking that you had to go through that for an entire year.
Yeah, well, it was like everyone said my portfolio had too much of an Indian aesthetic. That's what I heard over and over again. So that's how I ended up getting into embroidery design, because embroidery still is made in India. So I was still working with our factory in Mumbai, and I was working for all these luxury brands like Oscar de la Renta and Carolina Herrera and Calvin Klein. But it was like I was just focusing on the embroidery, which is not something that I ever saw myself doing, because when I was at Sabyasachi, embroidery is just one part of design. But then when in the US, they were like, India, embroidery. Okay, that's like that's the box that like we're gonna.
There's a lot of hand painted, pretty amazing stuff that we do too. But and just like so much stuff. Like I love Indian design. So anyway, so that was. I might move back to India at some point when I'm older. Like, I'm sort of thinking like 60s, 70s, like I would see myself retiring in India. Since I left India, I probably came back like 15 times. I usually go like twice or even 3 times a year. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, next time you're around, you have a home in Bangalore.
Amazing. I've been to Bangalore several times.
Definitely. Okay. So would you say, do you pick the wall or does the wall pick you?
Well, the client picks me and the client has the wall, right? Okay. So that's what happens. So basically, somebody will reach out to me usually through Instagram, and they have a project, and then people reach out to me quite often, but I probably only actually do 25% of the projects because of budget and timing. Like we have to agree on that, but it's just really nice to have people just even ask me, because sometimes if I'm not doing that much, I might just take the wall, or like if the project really speaks to me, even if it doesn't have any money. Sometimes I try not to do that a lot, because I don't think that artists should be just these like self-sacrificing community servants. Like, it's like, okay, you're doing a beautiful project and I want to support you, but like you also have to support me. It's not like I just have to like work for free for you. That ridiculous.
Happens a lot even with me, right? Because you're like, well, I do this work, and then they're like, oh, but you get a lot of experience, and I'm like, I've been doing this since 2011. I don't need no experience.
Exactly. Experience, exposure. But a lot of times those people I just completely disregard. But a lot of times it's like people that say, oh, we don't have any money and we're like this community project. And like, it does tug at your heartstrings. And I try to limit myself very consciously to like the projects that like really, really I believe in. And like, I want to donate my time to that, almost like the way that you would donate money to an organization that we all do. And so I think of it that way, but it's not connected to like my art career. It's like, I'm going to donate this and in this time, and not too many of those projects. So I try to be selective with that, but so the client reaches out to me, and then, usually they have a wall in mind. And so if the project aligns with me, then I go for it.
I really like your purple neon heart with the flowers in it. It's so stunning. Yeah, that's
So
it.
I actually have a print
Yeah.
of that. Let me
Oh,
show
can we
you.
have a look at that?
So this was a collaboration with another artist who's a close friend of mine named
Yeah.
Adam Fu, and he does neon, and I
Yeah.
did the flowers. This is the proof thing, but we're doing a 24 by 24 size print, and we're releasing them. We're planning to release them next week.
Oh, that'd be cool. Because I saw it on your Instagram, and I'm like, how do I buy this? That's how I ended up where your leggings were. And I was like, oh my god, leggings!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing like an official launch next week on Instagram. I want to do more prints in the future.
Yeah, you should. You definitely should, because your work is amazing, and it actually has a lot. It's very powerful, but it's very subtle and classy at the same time. So people should be having that all over their houses.
So not this February, but the previous February. So I don't know what that is, like a year and a half more or less. That's when I became full time, and that entire first year, like all of 2018, I was just literally, I mean, I was just back to back murals, which is amazing. And so now I'm kind of, settling in a little bit and doing maybe like 2 projects a month with like a higher budget and sort of like
that was going to be my next question. If you could walk us through your process.
So I'm mostly focused on the painting itself because my work is so detailed that really takes up the bulk of my time. So when I'm on a project, I paint minimum 8 hours a day. Sometimes I paint 10 hours a day. And when I mean 8 hours a day, I mean like I'm eating lunch standing at the wall, not losing a single minute. It's very intense. And actually that's something that I tried to work on. That was my resolution for 2020 was like eat meals sitting down, and because I think it's very important. It's like, it's sustainable, sustaining your health. So like last year I was just focused on, getting the murals done, working so hard. And this year I've been focused on like going for acupuncture, like taking care of what I'm eating, like not ordering takeout every time.
Do that because you're just standing there, like you obviously stretch.
So I was having a lot of like back pain. So that's been getting better. Acupuncture. So that's been a whole like journey as well. But so I'm mostly focused on the process of painting and just like putting as much detail. And I always want my mural that I'm working on to be like better and more detailed than my previous one. Even if the client is paying me less or like it's a smaller wall, I don't care. It's like for my own growth or for my own Instagram. I just want it to be even better. So I'm always going like the extra mile.
That's amazing.
But in terms of just the overall process, like I do computer layouts first when the client calls me. But I usually streamline those. Like I use photos that are already existing from the internet or my own older work just to give like an idea of scale and stuff. So I don't sit and draw the whole mural out because my work is not easily rendered. Like some people, they do a lot of like solid colors so they can just block it out on iPad. But I would prefer to use a photograph and then like paint all the details. So sometimes the clients have trouble understanding that, but most of the time they get it. And then I basically go for the first day and I just get straight into it. Like it's like the client will show me the wall and I'm already like painting the first thing. They're like, you started already? Like I gotta get on this. So so most of my days are just I wake up in the morning and I go and I paint and then I come back, I take a shower and I try to recuperate my tired body and then I do it all again.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's how mostly looks.
Can we see the artwork behind you?
Yes. So this is my very first mural that I painted when I was still full-time in my fashion job. And so so basically there's this, my ceiling is slanted because I live in the attic. So it's a little distorted. But this is this like focal point, this woman who is channeling light and crystals down through this lotus on her head. It's just like, I wake up to this every morning and this is my spiritual thing. And then this is a hummingbird. And so this over here, these are, it's just all this like abundant florals. And this is a black jaguar. And then
jaguar, sorry.
At the bottom, I did a Shiva lingam with marigold. Yeah. And then it's like water, and this is actually a vagina. It's like the yoni and the floral. So it's like the masculine, feminine, divine energy. So that's one side of it. And then the other side is kind of this like mystical garden with this oversized ladybug like blessing the space and this orchid and dragonfly, and it's just a lot of abundance. Like there's
it's really nice.
There's a bumblebee, there's like an earthworm down here.
It has like a lot of little symbols that mean a lot of symbols. Yeah.
And I honestly wish that I could paint with that level of intricacy for my clients, and I hope that someday I will. But you know, it's not the fastest thing in the world to do a mural like that. So
I mean, you'll get there. I know you will.
Yeah.
I mean, you already are, because with every artwork, you are bettering yourself, right? So
yeah,
I think it'll just be time.
It's the budget.
Correct.
The budget has to be there.
Yeah, but I'm certain you will get to a point where your clients will appreciate the time and effort you put into your murals, because you're not just giving them like half-hearted work, right?
Exactly. Okay,
and
so
I'll let you finish.
Super. I mean, I would say that they find my mural to be double what they expected it to be. Like that's like their language. Sometimes they pay me extra. They're just so shocked. They can't stop saying like, oh my God, it came out so much better than I even imagined it would. Because I think my work in person looks even better than whatever they saw on Instagram. So they're always just like, and it can be the opposite. Like I know people that have the opposite experience where their clients are like, oh, on Instagram, your work looks better or something. And for me, they're just like, wow.
Yeah. Cause there's so much detail in all your, in your floral, right? So it looks amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a next question. Who is your inspiration? It could be anybody. Okay. Yeah. That's amazing.
So Sabyasachi, as I told you, is like my mentor, my sort of like father on this path. I spent a lot of time with him. Yeah. Just watching him design, you know, for hours and hours. Like I say that I paint for 8 hours a day. He designs whatever he's designing. Saris, langas, like kurtas for 10, 12 hours at a time without eating, without stopping. Endless. And he's constantly excited. Like when I'm painting, I'm exhausted, and he's like, oh my God, purple with the green is stunning. And I'm like, you're 12 hours into this. Like, how are you still excited about purple and green? I mean, he's just like, he's just another type of human.
Honestly, I could see how Sabyasachi would be anybody's inspiration, because his work is so good, right?
Honestly, my other inspiration, like philosophically and lifestyle wise, is Ayn Rand. She's a novelist who's written a lot of books about individuality, and there's a lot of like problems with her thinking, and people don't like her necessarily because politically in the US, like she's been used as a libertarian thinker, and some like Republican tax laws have been created in it's like a controversial thing to say, but I'm just going to go out and say it, because her book, The Fountainhead, about like what it means to be an artist and what it means to stand as an individual and create, it was like the single biggest inspiration to me when I read it at 18. And it definitely saved my life. I mean, I don't know how I'd feel now going back. There are some like little tweaks and things, but I mean, it's just been a huge philosophical bedrock.
I would really think you'd be inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe.
No, not so much. I mean, like I like her.
Even the little shriveling with the thing, it really reminds me of her work. Yeah,
I know. I mean, like, I guess for me, I have artists that I like to look at and I like appreciate, but for whatever reason, it's just these people that have sort of like resonated more with my thoughts. And then of course I'll paint something that I think is beautiful, but like inside of my mind I'm thinking about these other people. So like I did study philosophy, so the last person that I would say is inspired me is Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher. So he, again, it's all about creating your own values as an individual and not following the ideals of society, essentially, is what I got from it. And like I also meditate every day. That's a huge part of my life. And so that whole idea of like the search for the individual and the search for who is the self, that is like really what I'm trying to do in this life. And then of course my art comes out of that space, but
I was just going to say, it really comes out of your space, by the way. It really comes out in your work. You can tell that all the ideologies that you have picked up from your favorite writers and philosophers, you can, I swear you can see it in your work. And it's so beautiful, because now that I know, I'm able to tell the story and I'm able to tell the narrative, right? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, certainly there's many, many, many creators in the world that I find I love so many artists. Like I love Klimt. I love Egon Schiele. And I love a lot of sort of like ethnic work. Like there's this tradition in Australia of these sort of like dot paintings. I have the book right here. Like I look at the way that they combine color, like baffled. I mean, it's like gorgeous. So and I'm also inspired a lot by traditional Buddhist and Hindu art in temples and stuff like that.
Okay, we're gonna get into like a quick rapid fire round, okay? Okay. Favorite artwork?
I like the Klimt painting of the woman lying down.
Yeah, that's
I don't
really
know what
good
it's
one.
called.
I know which one you're talking about. That's a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, paper or wall?
Definitely wall. 100%
I was also
wall.
going to be like, no, I should have said embroidery or wall. Yeah.
Wall, definitely wall.
Yeah. Okay, describe your style in 3 words.
Vivid, lush, vibrant.
Definitely, yeah. Black and white or color?
Color.
Yeah, obviously color. Who is your favorite artist? It could even be a band.
Oh, Lost Frequencies. He's my
cool.
favorite DJ.
Yeah.
I love his music. I've seen him live 5 times. I listen to him only when I paint, like over and over and over and over again, because I feel like his vibration is exactly the vibration I'm trying to tune into.
Correct.
I mean, it's actually like pathological. Like I basically have only listened to his music while I paint for the last like 1 year.
That's amazing. So what would be your favorite, what would you say is your song on repeat on Spotify?
Well, I don't listen to songs. I listen to the mixes. So I listen to like his Tomorrowland mix on YouTube, which unfortunately has ads.
So my next question for you was going to be favorite book, but I think we know it. It's Fountainhead, right?
Gosh, I mean, there's so many books I love, but you know, I think the long-time favorite, which I've reread twice now, and I still loved it both times, is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Anyway, I could go on forever.
My next question is Tristan or Shepherd?
What's that?
Oh, Tristan Eaton or Shepherd Fairey?
Oh, Tristan or Fairey. Tristan. I would say Tristan. I mean, I love his use of color, you know, like Shepherd is more like flat and like a print. Yeah.
I don't have a favorite. I love them both. It's so hard for me to pick between the two. They're just pretty cool. Okay. What inspires you as an artist or a creator?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, color more than anything inspires me. Like, I feel that of all senses, I'm most attuned to seeing colors and combinations of colors. They sort of, there's like an energy that I feel when 2 colors combine and that interaction between those colors. And that's what I'm interested in more than like, for example, a flower. Like I paint flowers because I think they're beautiful. And a lot of metaphysical sort of like things that we can learn from a flower, like how it just blooms and how it does so graceful and all these things. But like also it's just this blank canvas to have this play of colors interacting in the shadows and all of the little, you know, dips and little rivulets in the petals. So I just love color, and I see the world in color interactions constantly. Like that's my daily experience of the world.
What is your favorite flower to paint?
Definitely a peony, because I've thought about this a lot. Like I love peonies because they have a lot of petals and a lot of interaction, but they're not like cheesy in the way that some flowers are. Like for example, roses, I rarely paint roses. So, and if I do paint a rose, I'll paint like a garden rose variation, which has a center with like stamen coming out, which it's not like clearly recognizable, that typical like rose. So I love peonies and anything related to that. Like this, in this print, these are magnolias.
These are
but it's all kind of the same. I love this type of thing where there is a center with this yellow kind of thing, and then these abundant lush petals sort of like opening out from that.
I'm really excited for the prints of that to come out.
Peonies me too. They are really fantastic. I just saw the proof yesterday, so it's really good. Peonies have more petals than magnolias, so I love peonies the most.
So this is my last question for the segment. What is your message for upcoming artists and creators?
Everyone would say the same thing, like work hard and don't give up and everything. But what I would say is 2 things that I really feel from my heart. One is it's okay if you like somebody else's style and work more than your own. Like that's something that I struggled with a lot, where I actually really like abstract expressionism. So I love like Rothko and I love Franz Klein, and I love these kind of like bold color blocking.
Yeah.
Because again, I love color.
Yeah.
But
Correct.
when I try to create, it doesn't come out that way.
Correct.
It comes out in this other way, which is more realistic. And so for a while I thought, why do I love these paintings so much? And then I don't paint in that style. And then I started at a certain point, I was like, I can prefer that style of these other creators to my own style, but I am still going to create, and then somebody's going to like what I'm creating.
Correct. Yeah.
So you don't have to paint just like your favorite painter is what I'm saying. And then, and be okay with that, and like be at peace with that, and accept yourself for the way that it comes out naturally when you create. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is, like you can have passion and you can work really hard, but be aware of when things are working out in a natural flow. Because for me, I had the passion and I had the work ethic for fashion, and I was getting some type of success, but it was like really difficult. And then this unexpected ease came with the murals, and that really felt like it's my destiny. Like when people ask me how I can become a muralist or something like that, I don't even feel like I have to hide anything, because I'm like, this is my destiny. Like if it's your destiny, you will also find it, but your destiny may be something else. So it's we place so much effort on working hard and not giving up. But I think that the things that we are meant to do come with a certain amount of ease, and it may take a really long time to find that. Like I didn't find that until
I also feel like for you it will be to take chances, because that's what you did when you came to India, and then the rest is history, right? So well,
I want to take more chances. That's a really good point. It was such a exciting thing to be in that very new
it was almost like, you know what, I'm going to do this because I want to, and then it just brought you to this whole new chapter of your life, which inspires so many people around the world. And I think it's important to remember that. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today, Natasha. It's been super inspiring. We adore your work, and I'm just hoping we're able to inspire so many other Indians out there to go out, do what they love, and they will get to where they want to be.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm so happy on your channel, especially with a country and a culture I love so much, and it's helped me so much in my life. So yeah.